Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Arwin, Flatsoid, Chocolate Sayin, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Hey, hey.
Woohoo!
Hey, hello.
Wow, that's about as enthusiastic as it's ever been ever. That shout out to Alexander for hitting the super chat. Much love to you, my friend. Thank you for the thumbs up.
Hi.
Hello! I knew there'd be one more. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge, a horizon formerly known as Earth curve?
Yeah, that silence.
That's a tumbleweed moment.
Nothing.
Only
It's
in the
a
model.
deafening silence.
Don't they have a dip angle?
Can I ask
What?
I
something?
don't know the angle of their dip.
A dip angle would assume that you've got a physical geometric sphere edge to have a dip angle too. So assuming you've got a zenith pointing towards the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, assuming 90 degrees is a horizon that's imaginary, and then the dip angle to the physical geometric sphere edge you're going to apply that dip angle to would be the assumption that the horizon is a physical edge. So these fundies on the globe side have an edge that they think boats go over. Of course, that's been debunked by the Black Swan.
I was thinking of
Does-
a different type of dip angle.
A different dip angle, one not to a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curve.
As Euclidean
Never
geometry.
mind.
Say again, Ryan?
I said never mind. It was just a
Don't
joke.
worry about it. Let's brush over that physical edge that they have boats going over. Quick, sharp, pronto. Yeah. At best, you would have debunked the radius of the Earth, and the radius gives you that tangent point that they assert blocks boats and buildings, and boats are supposed to go over. Thanks, Mr. Sensible. Yeah, that's kind of the conclusion to the Black Swan argument. At best, you've debunked the radius. That was kind of the point of the Black Swan modus tollens argument. But you will be forever attributed to the conclusion to that argument we make that debunks your geometry and the radius it is based on. At best, you would have debunked the radius, the very thing our entire argument's based on.
Can you have a
Does
sphere without a
horizon-
radius?
Can you have a sphere without a radius? No.
Does horizontal bend?
Horizontal. So just ask me if it's the antithesis of what you've got as a precursor to your question.
Can perpendicular always bend? Or is perpendicular always 90?
You know what? I've had a very long night, so talking in riddles to me during housekeeping is just not going to work.
Okay, perpendicular is always 90 to the plumb. In reality, they have to assert that that plumb has a new zenith.
Thank you for summarising it. I much prefer when you give the nonsense double-speak assertion as a question and then summarise the reason why you're asking. Excellent work. I don't have to do anything. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, bearing in mind Earth-based variety axial rotation is claimed to be proven with 2 reference frames and Coriolis deviation as Earth spins underneath for you to observe not actual drift as you turn underneath stuff. Any evidence that proves axial rotation?
Nope. Reference frames ruined.
Oh,
Yes,
bummer.
maybe for today the question should be any sign of any reference frames. Apparently, because
Been
they've been ruined.
Well,
So looking for
actually-
those.
actually, Rain debunks Coriolis now as well.
The lost reference frames.
Who?
I did
Has
see your
anyone
video,
seen-
but your camera, like most, isn't good enough to pick up rain.
That's not the point.
You can't
the point
see
was
my
just,
proof.
does the rain deviate?
When they have to film rain in movies, they have to saturate the actors, pour buckets full to make it appear to be a bit of a drizzle.
Yeah, but my point was, does the rain deviate?
Nah. Well, it's going all sorts of ways with the wind, though, isn't it? I see your point. I know what you're driving at, and you're right. Earth should turn underneath everything. So rain, why not? It's just as good an example as any.
But you know why I said this? First, it was the balloon. You wouldn't expect it to deviate because it's not moving. You need a moving part in reference. Now, rain is moving. You still wouldn't expect to see it deviate, apparently.
Right. I mean, the reason we're going on about this is because in the pre-show we were talking about sort of top 3 globe fails. You know, and you summarise Mr. Sensible, as we've done already, with his at best you've debunked the radius. You've got Thunderfoot Clown with his gas go down, go boom boom, like bouncy balls in a fish tank, when it expands in all directions and fills the available volume that you've got to fill. Clown. And you've got Simon Dan. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I had to point out in a comment, I may or may not show this, but to Dan I replied to one of his comments I'd missed. He's like, you don't understand. Same old rebuttal. He was quick to correct somebody in the chat about how many subscribers he's got, but then just went on to say, you don't understand my tweet. So I said, no, you made a massive mistake here, Dan. We don't have any reference frames, and you are now permanently part of the show. Like Thunderfoot Clown and Mooser and Smiley, you know, Cue Ball, Mr. Sensible. These people are all permanent fixtures now. Forever tarred with their errors. And Simon Dan's error is debunking drift. We don't have any reference frames, but they claim they've got 2 with drift. Dan shows tweet with no drift and says Simon Dan's reference frames are ruined because they're not mine. Clown, permanently part of the show now.
Let's not forget to mention his greasy lawyer Rumpus, who came in saying that he was actually arguing conservation of momentum, which is not the Coriolis effect, and is evidence that there is no drift. But yet in chat wants to say he believes in drift. Okay, Dan, you have a slight problem. You might want to show the drift that you believe in instead of showing a video that has no drift whatsoever. You might want to do that.
Well, he's showing no drift because Earth doesn't demonstrate Coriolis effect, which is real. You can show it really easily. Throw something off a roundabout while you're spinning. Because your roundabout spinning underneath the thing you've thrown, you observe something while spinning underneath it with a not actual deflection because it's you spinning underneath. So the prerequisite to have this effect, Coriolis effect, is you spinning underneath stuff. And when we go, whoa, we're not spinning underneath aeroplanes or drones or air balloons or helicopters, and then they turn into total idiots and start arguing against their own claim. Saying, well, we wouldn't expect drift at 15 degrees an hour. We just claimed proves it spins. We wouldn't expect Earth to turn underneath to give us 15 degrees an hour, as we've just claimed. They turn into idiots. Why? Well, because they don't have any drift. Earth doesn't demonstrate this effect, regardless of people like Neil deGrasse Tyson saying it's asserted that balls drift when you watch them from the stand because you're turning underneath them. Yeah, well, it's asserted Earth turns underneath, but when we point out that it doesn't, they quickly move on to, we wouldn't expect to see drift like we're claiming it. And Dan was foolish enough to tell me that my reference frames, phrased as thus, you and your reference frames have been ruined, and they ain't mine. Foolish fool. They're not my reference frames you're debunking.
Can I just tell AB Science to stop teaching his followers that reference frames aren't part of physics?
Well, they're not really. They're abstract mathematics. They're describing something. A frame of reference isn't a phenomena you could study or a cause of something.
But it has a physical location, though.
Yeah, you could describe it maybe, but in terms of something that's physically occurring, in Coriolis. What are you talking about here? A sight gag? Something that's not actually happening. You know, me turning under a lamppost and saying, right, because I'm in a turning reference frame and it's not, it looks like it's coming towards me. It's like, yeah, listen to the phraseology. It looks like it's coming towards you. What's the physical effect we're studying here? Us turning underneath stuff and it looking like it's doing stuff it isn't. That's what Earth's claim to do. You see, you only see the effect if you turn underneath stuff. And we go, yo, we're not turning underneath Jack. They go, we wouldn't expect to. You go, well, why are you claiming you are then? Why is Simon Dan showing us our argument, which is that we don't have any drift? Admittedly, whilst pulled by a tractor. But, you know, why? Because you're going to beg the question that we don't have drift because it's all turning together. Well, we don't claim drift. You do. So what, would give us an argument that debunks your own claim of drift by showing how we don't have any? Yeah, kudos. Yeah, that's because your reference frames you use to claim drift are ruined. And that's our argument. We don't claim there should be drift. But when you debunk it showing us none, we'll laugh at you and forever hold you up as the poster child that demonstrates no drift. Thanks, Dan. No drift.
But Nathan, doesn't physics teach reference frames? And physics is usually physical.
Yeah, so what's the physical that you're describing with a reference frame? The turning roundabout? Well, that's the physicality of it. You don't like this, do you, Flatsword? I can tell you've got an issue with this now. We'll bring it back up after housekeeping. Right, any evidence?
Wait a minute. The Three Stooges from the Globe side that you just mentioned are supposed to defend their model, but they're imploding it.
Yeah, that's why I've labelled this the top 3 globe fails. I mean, we've got Rumpus in there as an honourable mention. Should we decide to order these in a top 3 order of complete insanity? Or level of damage to their own argument? You know, in the case of that, I think Dan would be top of the list. You know, biggest globe fail would be attacking an argument we don't even make. Now, with gas pressure and Thunderfoot, at least we're saying, look, if the sky was a vacuum, the gas would fill the availability of volume. You claim. Now, you can kind of weasel that into a claim we're making, but it's in line with natural law, so who cares? But in the case of Simon Dan's fail, what are we claiming with reference frames, Dan? Absolutely nothing. So the only thing he's done is scored an own goal. He's literally dribbled it around me and gone, booyah! There's your reference frames ruined. And I'm standing there going, that's your goal. I don't have any reference frames. What, ruined? So when they say 15 degrees an hour drift, that's ruined, is it? Own goal, you clown. So that would be at number 1, which would presumably put Mr. Smiley cue ball at number 3, right? At best, you've debunked the radius. It doesn't need his accreditation. He's a nobody pretty much anyway. But it's some face to put to that argument. The argument itself is devastating with the Black Swan, right? It stands alone. You don't need it to be part of a globe fail. Not that the other two you do either. You know, gas pressure without a container. We're backed by natural law. Sorry, Thunderfoot. Total fail.
Yeah, but it's nice to put a face to these remarks.
Exactly. It's just a bit of fun, right? Fails on their side that devastated their own side's argument. And here's 3 examples of it. We make an argument that disproves radius, and Mr. Sensible sums it up for us. At best, you've debunked the radius. Yeah, thanks, man. It's nice that your side gave us the conclusion that we already knew. But verbalising it's epic. Thank you so much. What's that? Gas go down, go boom boom like bouncy balls in a fish tank. What an epic fail. A PhD that doesn't know how gas behaves. What a clown. Yeah, that's never going away. It's part of the show now, right? Gas go down, go boom boom. It's like saying you can think of it as a force from Musa. You know, maybe that'll get an honourable mention because it's not a top 3 globe destroyer. So when you're talking about top 3 globe destroyers, their own arguments from their side are going to be the top 3 fails. But Musa, it's just, it's gravity, who cares? But by the same token, it's still an important argument that we often have in gas pressure without a container when they say gas go down, go boom boom. Like bouncy balls, because of gravity, single downward vector, ignoring the fact that gas doesn't behave that way and expands in all directions, making Thunderfoot a clown. You know, but these sorts of fails are good to laugh at and, as you say, put a face to the clownery. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Thunderfoot.
Well, don't forget, Mr. Sensible, while talking about you don't get edges on a globe, points 2 times on an edge on a ball.
Yes, he does, yeah. I like that too. Back when they were denying the edge when the Black Swan first came out, they're like, I don't have an edge. I'm like, here's your edge. I went on camera holding a ball. I'm like, that's what you say boats go over. Yeah? The bit that you measure as the physical obstruction. That's your edge, right, you clowns? But they deny it when you point out they ain't got one. They want to tar us with boats go over the edge of a flat pancake flying up through a vacuum, because that's what Flat Earth Society say flat earthers believe in. We don't. Models are pseudoscience. But the globe model has got exactly that asserted to normies. Hey, normie, did you realise that your horizon is claimed to be a physical edge that boats go over while you fly through a sky vacuum? Isn't that absurd? Especially when we point out that it doesn't have any physicality, it moves with the weather. And even if you try and assert it down with geometry, you rebut us by telling us that you haven't got it. We do not see the geometric horizon, says AB Science, who's basically a mathematician masquerading as a scientist. But yeah, these are all fails, all honourable mentions. Top 3 will always be Mr. Sensible, Thunderfoot Clown, and Sciman Dan. Thanks, Dan. No drift. The distance to the sun. Moving on.
Oh, don't forget conspiracy cats. You can't have gas pressure without a container.
Ah, he's way down. Yeah, it's a quotable quote, but in terms of a demonstration that annihilates the assertion, because he's actually saying, I reify gravity into a single vector for gas. Here's my demo. Yeah, you can quote conspiracy cats. He's got a couple, right? Without the balloon, there is no pressure, or without the container, there can be no pressure. Both conspiracy cats. Great quotes. Much better for chat. You know, comments and the chat feeds. Here, just go down. You can hear how much I find that amusing on a live show.
Right. I get it. It's more hilarious, this one.
Yeah, that face, Thunderfoot Clown, in his little clown outfit, juggling bouncy balls and saying they go down, go boom, boom, like gas that expands in all directions. Oh, it doesn't, does it? You clown. That's never going to get old. You know, you and your reference frames have been ruined. I can put quotes around it and attribute to Simon Dan, devastating because we don't have them. Or I can just repeat it. Take ownership of Dan's statement of fact. Say it without quote marks. With real disdain. Hey, globe head clowns. You and your reference frames have been ruined. Thanks, Dan. No drift, right? Yeah, that's what we've been saying for ages. No drift, no 15 degrees an hour. Earth ain't turning underneath anything. Dan'll prove it to you. But he believes in the drift because he's a globe-believing clown. Like all the rest of these fails. Let's move on. Distance to the sun. Enough of the top 3 globe fails and honourable mentions.
Nope. No distance to the sun. I can't see it right now. But yeah, just seeing it doesn't give it a specific distance. Just an apparent one.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Oh dear.
See question number 1.
Oh, what did we cover that with? Oh, Black Swan. Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can think of a quote. At best, you've debunked the radius.
Copy that.
Well,
But no R value.
Radius, no sphere. How you doing?
Well, that was my next question. Any evidence of the R value?
Hey,
Earth radius?
wasn't done yet.
Oh, go on, Arwin. My bad.
Molten iron core. I watched 2012 yesterday, and they had this. It was filled with geologists. I think that even like the president's emergency plane had like geologists and their graphs and prediction models on there. That really stood out to me. It's filled with geologists, and it's everything about, this special thing happened where the radiation of the sun, a special radiation, is heating up the molten iron core like a microwave, causing it to expand. And yeah, you could call that movie The Molten Iron Core, the movie, really, when you think about it. So it's not proof, though, but they really put effort in there to make it as molten iron core-y as possible.
As molten iron core-y?
Yeah.
Was Michelle Thaller's cousins in that movie?
I don't know.
So do we have any pictures of this molten iron core? Do we have anything?
No. Nice story, though.
Yeah.
Any scientific evidence of gravity? Roll on the Musa quotes.
No. Reification
Inertia.
fallacy.
Stand on a scale. Your weight proves there's gravity.
No, it doesn't. It proves you can assume gravity.
What about any
Well,
single...
Einsteinian gravity
Go. Was that John? Go ahead.
isn't Einsteinian gravity supposed to be inertia? Like, it's one of those confusing things that, with Coriolis effect, they say it's a non-inertial reference frame, but with Einsteinian gravity, they say it's an inertial reference frame. It's a bit confusing.
Not exactly. They're saying that an uneven distribution of mass, or the distribution of mass, would cause time and space to bend, and that bending is what they call gravity.
Right, but they believe that the Earth is rising up at an inertial speed, and that's what causes radiated pressure or whatever. But still, that they need the Earth to be both inertial and non-inertial simultaneously in their proofs.
Shocker. Surrounded by doublespeak. Yeah, I mean, they can describe it however they like, because we're only talking about Einsteinian mathematics, conceptual mediums being bent. Space-time, these are conceptual things. They're not real. So you can do whatever you like in pseudo-Riemannian four-space geometry, because it's not real. You can say black holes, bending space-time, you can make gravitons, and make up anything you like. Just maths. Abstract.
Rumpus says it's real.
Yeah.
Rumpus says the 4D world is real.
Yeah, because we're dealing with fundamentalist religious zealots who have literally reified mathematics into existence.
Well, they play a game with the fourth dimension and the third dimension, and what they do is they make curved straight and straight curved, and they jump back and forth, but they never tell you when they're doing it. So they don't have to have any consistency between their stories.
Yeah, but when you say when they're doing it, forget when they're doing it. Where are they doing it? Well, they're doing it in a conceptual medium. So I just point out that, no, you're talking about concepts when you talk about bending space-time. You're not talking about physics. That's physical. And this isn't. It's maths. Pseudo. It's in the title of the geometry.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is with like Zanuck, when he comes in and says the straightest structure on Earth has got points that deviate away from a plumb line, what they've actually done is calculated using Einsteinian mathematics, but it ends up being curved in reality. But they want to claim it's straight.
Right. Bending geodesics in space-time.
Right.
Right.
It's kind of silly.
Very silly. Go on.
So that object that Zanuck is referencing that has minute differences, is that equal 8 inches per mile square?
He's talking about something different. He's talking about bending geodesics in space-time, pseudo-Riemannian four-space geometry, as opposed to the physical sphere edge reified from mathematics of geometry, which is different. That's globe Earth maths versus Einsteinian. Go on, sorry, John.
But if they were right, then the plumb line should equal up. If that is the straightest object, in the universe, the plumb line should line up. They shouldn't be out. It's an absurdity to say, look at this curved thing that's straight, but they do it.
Right. Yeah, as I say, conceptual medium. I don't know what else to say, but I am going to read out a super chat from the Adam Meakin, who I have no idea what days, but he says, be busy at work so I can just check a claim made by Simon Dan. Okay. Whose reference frames have been wrecked? I can answer that, Adam. Theirs. We don't have any reference frames to wreck. They assert 2 reference frames, Earth turning underneath, and that causes things to seem to drift. Because you're turning underneath them? Yeah? That would shorten flight times. Obviously, if you're travelling from Charlotte to North Carolina at that latitude, then you'd have an 1.5-hour flight rather than 4.5-hour flight if Earth was turning underneath for the guy on the ground to go, hey, we've got Coriolis. That plane looks like it's drifting. I mean, it's not. It's me turning underneath. That's what causes Coriolis. And they assert Earth's got it. but the flight times aren't shortened. Earth isn't turning underneath anything. And then we end up with Simon Dan saying, because we've pointed out that there isn't an Earth turning underneath stuff, he says, your reference frames are ruined. It's like, we were debunking your reference frames, Dan. So it's actually you and your reference frames and an example of no drift, which is exactly what we're saying. No 15 degrees an hour drift, Coriolis effect, Earth turning underneath, with you observing something seeming to drift. Not actual effect caused by you turning underneath? What, you're showing us how that doesn't happen? Yeah, we agree, man. Isn't that weird how Simon Dan's batting for our corner, telling us how there's no drift, telling you fundies with a globe belief how your reference frames are ruined? Yeah, thanks, Dan. Maybe tell your audience how you still believe the drift, though, having debunked it. Because that'll really work well. Maybe tell Rumpus, kowtow to him, saying, I believed it, though. I know I'm not showing it. I know my statement debunks the reference frames needed, but I believe. Yeah, because Rumpus is coming to mop up your mess. So you better believe, because Tyson asserts it, you priest. I know you're debunking it, Dan, but you better believe in it, even though it ain't real.
You're misrepresenting him, Nathan.
And what?
You're misrepresenting him.
Yeah, when I quote him. We had 2 days of him telling me that I was misrepresenting Rumpus, his lawyer, because Dan's a coward. He's never coming in this public show that he could join and challenge anything being said. He just keeps repeating the same statement, which is, we don't understand his tweet. It's like, yeah, we do understand. We understand your tweet, but we don't understand why you debunk a Globehead claim that you've got drift. Because we're not asserting reference frames, and we're asserting things don't drift on Earth. Coriolis is real. But your claim seems to fly in the face of all these claims by Tyson and snipers that Earth turns underneath their projectile, meaning they witness it seem to drift because they turn underneath it. Well, that's Earth turning underneath stuff, Dan. 2 reference frames. Coriolis, didn't you know that that was what the Earth was claimed to be proven with spin by? Oh dear. Does I have any reference frames? But thank you so much for inquiring. I laboured that point for a significant period of time, Adam, and thanks to Rumpus's input, Dan's now a permanent feature on the show. Every time we ever mention Earth-based Coriolis effect, drift at 15 degrees an hour, we'll quote Dan. Because, globeheads, ding, 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 you and your reference frames have been ruined. Shout out to Thomas Larson, who says, your reference frames are ruined, and has a rolling on the floor laughing face. Thanks for the super chat.
I have a question for Simon then.
Go ahead,
How
Darwin,
does
what's
it
your question?
feel? How does it feel to believe in ruined reference frames? How does it feel?
After debunking them.
Yeah, it must feel kind of shitty to be in a chat. In the panel of the chat is talking about how you said that they ruined reference frames, and then you're in the chat saying, I believe in drift. That's pretty funny, Dan.
It's like us debunking the Black Swan.
What's a reference frame?
Something used by globeheads to assert we have 15 degrees an hour drift as Earth turns underneath something in the inertial reference frame, not attached to the non-inertial spinning reference frame they claim Earth is. So to prove that it is, they say we've got this drift with 2 reference frames that we don't claim or need, but they do, and Dan's debunked them. Got a
So
message.
he's just
Go on.
He just slapped himself in the face and thought it's funny.
Yeah, how embarrassing. To be telling people that you don't have the reference frames they use to claim drift. What a fool. Anyway, I'm going to read out one of the messages that I missed from Dan that slipped me by. I just happened to stumble on it yesterday. If I can actually find the damn thing now in my iPad so I can read it in the tiny little text, but it's on screen. So Dan's response to some guy, I won't read out the comment he's actually responding to, but from what I glean, he made a mistake about Dan's subscriber count. Now, Dan was very keen to correct that error. So, Dan, lol. Let's just read that as it is. Laugh out loud. It's 3 years, not 5. 38, is it 385,000 plus, not 335,000 plus. And it's not my fault you guys don't understand the tweet. Crying, laughing face. So my response, yeah, we don't understand whose reference frames you have ruined! Exclamation mark. You have made a mistake, Dan. We don't have any reference frames to ruin, and I will never ever let you forget it. Like Musa and Thunderfoot, you are now a permanent feature on my show. You and your reference frames have been ruined, Dan. Good job, I'm not claiming drift at 15 degrees per hour and 2 reference frames, clown? You will be forever known as the man who debunked Earth turn, and I'll be rubbing it in your face indefinitely. Enjoy the aftertaste, Dan. I hear it can last a while.
Hey Nathan, I got a question.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it, if he says that we just don't understand what he actually meant, wouldn't it be kind of interesting to like have him on and just give him 5 uninterrupted minutes to explain to us what exactly he meant with that?
He won't come on.
It's a public show.
No, but if we
show.
promise
Hello?
that nobody interrupts him ever
It's a public show.
during that 5 minutes,
He
what
can
about
join whenever he likes, right? It's not like Dan's setup. Dan's set up to write a script, read the script, any stumbles and fumbles, edit them out, present it as you want it, and then let the audience comment. Now, I'd call that an echo chamber. Now here, there's a public link, and anyone can come in and challenge me. What's that you say you want me to come to you? Well, I want a Lamborghini, but I run a YouTube channel with a public link, and you can join to challenge me, or you can send in some scumbag like Rumpus who'll tell me I'm misrepresenting your quote, only to later or 2 days later tell me he doesn't know what I'm talking about when I very specifically, verbatim, quote that quote. Yeah, because of course he doesn't know what it means, because it's devastating when we don't have reference frames to be ruined and Dan's claiming they're ruined, you needing them to prove drift that he's not showing in his tweet. So it's all a bit of a disaster for Dan. And as I say, he's forever going to be known as the man who debunked Earth turning underneath to cause drift. There you go. There's Dan's tweet. No drift. Reference frames ruined. And we make that argument. Same as Dan. No drift. Earth hasn't got planes in the air with Earth turning underneath them. So you can observe this Coriolis claim you say we have, because we are claimed to turn underneath stuff not attached. As soon as we point that you don't have that, you debunk your own claim and tell us how we don't have drift. Yeah, that's our point. No drift. No 15 degrees now. Earth isn't turning underneath.
Nathan?
Go
You're
on,
so on
go.
a roll, it's hard to get.
I am on a roll. Go. I love it. These clowns and their fails, they amuse me greatly. I could talk about it all day.
I notice when they say they don't
Hey.
understand. I'm sorry,
Hold on,
Damn
Neil.
it!
Hold on, Neil. Hold on.
No, I just wanted to say you're totally right about how Simon Dan typically is, how he does things on YouTube. Well, maybe we should just give him a little bit of room and just tell him, okay, well, what if you just make a prefabricated, you on screen though, 5-minute response video and can work on it for how long he wants. And then he comes on this show, doesn't publish it, comes on this show, and then he plays it on our show. And then you just watch it for 5 minutes. And that's it. No, but that is technically a prepared response because it's a specific response to a specific question. Like, what did you mean then, Dan?
What he's saying is, allow him to, under nice controlled conditions where it's all calm, rather than having me rip his head off. Nah, if he comes here, this guy spends all his YouTube career is consistent of is saying that globe deniers or flat earthers are idiots. I mean, he goes on to other vaguely, loosely related topics, but on the whole, all he does is say we're stupid. So you think that if he comes here to defend his abject stupidity and debunking of his own claim that his own side makes, I should cut him a break? Nah, I'm going to laugh my ass off at him.
No, but it's just the 5 minutes. Only those 5 minutes. It's a golden opportunity because he could dig his hole even deeper.
Oh, I
potentially.
see. He can do that on his
He's
own
already
channel.
done
It's
that.
stopping him from making a video. He can make a
Don't
video.
underestimate
Yeah,
how
Hold on.
deep the hole can go.
He's already dug the hole.
Yeah,
Reference
yeah, and
frames have been
deeper.
ruined. Arwen, do we have reference frames?
No, we don't have any.
Oh, okay. So
So
whose
is it
reference
only
frames got
here?
ruined?
See, this
hear
was
what he
this
meant.
is, you see, this is the argument we had the other day with 10th Man. If they did, they did.
They can't go any deeper than 8 miles, Arwen.
Well said.
Listen, he makes a video. I would love to hear it because guaranteed they will mess themselves up even more.
Right. Well, that's my point.
But,
That's what I
isn't
think
he
will happen.
Mr. Video Maker? Hasn't he made a response to this yet?
No, it gets better though, Chocolate. He's being told by his fans to just ignore this. Just ignore Nathan. Just ignore him. That's what he's actually being told to do.
But let's just face it.
I would almost bet by his greasy lawyer is probably is telling him to ignore this, and I'll come in and represent you and tell everybody on that panel, because they're all crazy, that you're misrepresenting my client by arguing conservation of momentum when they think you're arguing drift. Meanwhile, you tell them that your reference frames are ruined. Do you want to clear that up for us, Dan? Because we're having a big problem with that, buddy. Or
No problem
actually,
for me.
you're having a big problem with that.
Yeah.
Because we don't have reference frames.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Well said. Yeah, we're not having a problem with this. I'm very, very pleased about this, in fact. And like you say, they've got to advise their client to say as little as possible. Don't say anything else. Okay.
Well, the Mr. Crisco lawyer, the greasy lawyer, needs to have a one-on-one and say, it's really difficult to defend our reified model. So the less you say, the better.
Mr. Crisco.
Anyway, did we cover all the housekeeping questions? Did we cover any evidence, any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Now you did. No.
Nope.
I did notice something, that when they say we don't understand and when they laugh, that nervous laugh, we got them cornered.
Yeah, that's the best we've had. You don't understand my tweet, but you've got the numbers wrong on my stats. So here's an absolutely accurate representation of my statistics and YouTube subscribers. But you don't understand my tweet. The argument that we're actually having, that's not going to get a detailed numbered response. But his subscribers, now that's critically important that he gets that across in detail. Because who could ever forgive someone saying 3 years when it's actually 5? Or 5 years when it's actually 3, and mistakenly given the wrong number of subscribers he's got. That stuff's important. The tweet, on the other hand, you don't understand that. You just don't understand. Because that's a really
Didn't
good
Fight the
rebuttal.
Tight Shirt do that too? Bring up his subscribers when we had him pinned?
Yeah, one of his replies. I just had it up for you didn't see it because you're in the panel, I didn't share it, but for the audience's benefit, yeah, I put up his tweet. His tweet correcting somebody about the number of subscribers he's got, the number of years he's been doing this, and telling us you didn't understand the tweet. It's like, so detailed explanation for the inconsistency from the commenter on your subscribe account, a correction in terms of the number of years that you've been doing this, but a simple declaration that we don't understand, and no explanation of what we don't understand, how we don't understand it, how we should be understanding it, what you're claiming, given that we don't claim reference frames at all. But you do. So what, we don't understand? Yeah, we don't understand why you've debunked your own claim, you clown.
I think sometimes that when they say you don't understand, they're actually projecting and they're just saying, I kind of don't know how to respond to this anymore. So I'm just going to
That's
project that on you.
literally what they're saying. Literally.
They
I'm
say
wondering, can
they
any
don't
of Simon Dan's subscribers, aka clowns that are in the chat, can y'all come in here and clear this up real quick and tell us whose reference frames got ruined? Because apparently we have reference frames that got ruined, but we don't. So your hero, Dan, he just fucked himself.
How did we get stuck
Hey,
with
language.
reference frames? That's what I don't like.
Simon Dan believes in ruined reference frames.
Yeah,
guys.
he believes in the ruined reference frames.
Poor
I can
guy.
explain this for Simon and Dan.
Oh, go ahead, John, be my guest.
Well, see, Nathan gives such an accurate description of the Coriolis effect that sometimes the opposing side gets confused about what their position is supposed to be. So he thought by disproving what Nathan said, it was actually helping his side.
I see.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly accurate. So I'm saying, okay, you claim Earth turns underneath the plane, with Coriolis effect. So we're turning underneath stuff and looking at it seem to drift because we're turning underneath it. And if we're turning underneath a plane, it would shorten flight times. So therefore, we're not turning underneath stuff. And he's heard that and gone, he claims that we're not turning underneath stuff when we should. So I'll debunk that. It's like, hello? The idea that we're turning underneath stuff is your claim. You utter moron, Simon Dan. How stupid can you be?
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
Yep.
It's,
Unless
it kinda
they
reminds
want to
me of,
redefine how the Earth is supposedly spinning or not spinning and the consequences. But yeah, they'd have to make up their mind. Like, do footballs still are they subject to Coriolis effects and bullets, or are they not? The heliocentrists haven't really made up their minds about this even.
Yeah, they're the ones that hear us debunking the actual claim, though. So the claim is Earth spins underneath. That's what gives you Coriolis effect. You spinning underneath, observing things, that's Coriolis effect. Now, what they do, in reality, is irrelevant because it's you observing them seem to drift. Now, why are you having that effect? Well, it's because you're claimed to turn underneath them. So we just say, nah, we're not turning underneath planes, that's bollocks. And they go, well, we wouldn't expect to be turning underneath, even though that's our claim. And you're not making that claim, we make it. But we're now going to debunk it by showing you things that don't drift, even though we claim they do. We being globeheads.
Well-
Globeheads claim drift. Globeheads claim 2 reference frame. Dan's claiming those reference frames are ruined. Dan's showing us no drift when there's supposed to be 15 degrees an hour of it to prove we spin. That proof comes from us spinning underneath. We don't. So they have to debunk their own claim and hope everyone gets confused in the process. Until Dan comes along with a nice, useful, handy quote. You and your reference frames have been ruined. Well, there's only one person claiming reference frames, and that's you, fundies, with a globe belief. Thanks, Dan. No drift.
Could it be stated they were attempting to create a fallacy by trying to debunk what they think is our claims about their model, which they don't agree that they have that claim, basically. Because they deny natural consequences and logic. So were they attempting a fallacy? Like, no, you constantly say this about our model. That's not true.
Yeah,
not
that's
realizing
exactly what
that
they
it
do.
is actually true.
That's exactly what they do, Arwin. The rhetoric's set in stone. If I say Coriolis effect, most people instinctively think that's something to do with Earth only. No, it's just an effect you see when you spin underneath stuff. The effect of it not really doing stuff but seeming to do stuff because you spin underneath it, that's Coriolis effect. And they claim Earth has that effect, which is real. But what is involved to have that effect? Well, you on a spinning Earth turning underneath stuff, seeing it seem to drift. Well, that would include planes because they're not attached. And that would shorten flight times if your claim to be spinning Earth is spinning under a plane. And that's the only way you achieve the effect. So you point that out. No, we're not turning underneath planes. And they come back with, we wouldn't expect to be turning under planes to show 15 degrees an hour drift. It's like, yeah, you would. That's exactly what you'd expect. It's what your priesthood claims. Neil deGrasse Tyson says Earth turns underneath a football. So you see it seem to drift? Well, that's you turning underneath it, seeing it seem to drift. Because you're turning underneath it. Well, that doesn't happen because it was shortened flight times, and round we go, with them saying, no, we wouldn't expect drift. But we've claimed drift. But we wouldn't expect it. But we believe in it. But we've debunked the reference frames we used to claim it, but we still believe in it. And hopefully, in that convoluted nonsense, everyone listening is confused. Well, I don't mind. We'll boil this down indefinitely. But we've got this quote from Dan. Only person with reference frames is you, globeheads. And you and your reference frames have been ruined. So we can start from there. Thanks, Dan.
It's like Barney Five shooting himself in
The
the
only
foot.
one confused is you guys. We're not confused. We do this every day. We understand this argument, guys. Your reference frames have been ruined, Dan. And your greasy lawyer had to come in days in a row to try to save your ass. I think that's pretty fucking funny and
Pathetic.
pretty pathetic, to be honest.
Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. What a coward. Your best rebuttal is you don't understand, but you make sure we understand your subcount. That made clear, yeah, all right? Because that's really important. How many years you been doing that? Oh, we better get that clear. What's that? The tweet we've held you to task on for about 15 videos now? You don't understand? That's the best you've got? Oh, right. Well, yeah, we wouldn't understand how anybody could be so stupid as to debunk a claim only your side make on the globe. We don't make it. Enjoy the salt, Dan, says Retro Bull. Thank you very much indeed, Retro Bill.
I'm just really curious. Like, Dan believes in these ruined reference frames, or in reference frames in general, if it's not our reference frames which he projects on us. So what does this belief exactly entail? Does he believe there is 2 reference frames or not?
He believes there's infinite reference frames. Arwen, he's a glober.
What?
Infinite ruined reference frames, Neil?
Yeah, infinite ruined reference frames.
Well, that's handy.
That's what they believe.
It's a good job he's got his belief.
Because the other day when I asked Rumpus, how many reference frames do you guys have in your narrative? He said infinite amounts. Really? Any flat earthers here make any claims to reference frames?
That's why he's fighting so hard for them, because you can't have infinite amount of reference frames ruined.
Look, they're corn.
But you only need 2 for Coriolis. And apparently they've been ruined. Dan, problems.
Chocolate. They're cornered by their own model. They stumble and fall over their own positions because they're dealing with conflict when any learned flat earther asks a question concerning their model. So then when we ask a question concerning gas law, they violate gas law. Then when we ask a question about Earth-based rotation to 15 degrees, then they violate that position that the Earth is turning, because there's no 15 degrees. Then the last one, they violate geometry because the Black Swan destroyed their radius of 3959. So when they get cornered, it's not because we had some trickery up our sleeve. We just fed their belief back to them in a question. They feel conflict, and they make mistakes and stumble. And that's the embarrassing part for them, because you can't defend that reified model.
Right on.
Logically.
Let me go get my my tiny violin for them. Give me a sec.
Oh, you're going to do string theory on us?
Nope.
Do a quick plug for you, 10th man. So, floating by, if you remember, you've watched this already on the members chat because this was discussed in the pre-show and actually got a full playthrough. But 10th man's made a video about the vacuum. Now, the reason or the motivation to make this video was Dr. Danny Faulkner, who asserts that a gas pressure differential is actually a vacuum. So it's been systematically pulled apart by 10th man. And he's got about 100 subscribers currently. Very good, but obviously he could do better. And I'm in no doubt that there's plenty of people in this live stream right now who are not subscribed to 10th Man Rising. So go and subscribe. I've just stuck a link. Obviously come back.
I'm here. 10th Man is here. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, very good video. You got a lot of praise in the pre-show for it, and I'll give you the same now, as I'm sure the people who go and watch it will appreciate.
Yeah, one of the comments just soon after I posted it last night was, it's easy to understand. It's simple. I mean, that's to get the message across is more important than having a ton load of facts.
Right, it was ram-packed full of facts, citations,
right,
facts, details. It was
right.
Good.
Right, but you can misuse facts. You can just be so bogged down by facts that the message gets lost. Whereas if you could kind of articulate it, I guess is the word, we use those facts in your favor for communication skills, like sales, right?
Right.
I agree with 10th Man. It's very easy to understand.
Could I defend one of the Globers' claims?
Have at it.
Yeah, guest.
When they claim that we don't understand, they're technically right, because understanding requires a belief in a knowledge claim is true and accurate. So every time they say you don't understand, what they're really saying is, why don't you believe what I'm claiming?
Yep, I agree with that.
Yeah, but we get it in the face of a debunking or a rebuttal to a claim they make. For example, they claim 15 degrees an hour deviation as you observe things on a spinning Earth turning underneath, things not attached. That's Coriolis deviation that they claim. And then what do you have as a response? Well, that would shorten flight times. That's our rebuttal. We don't see any drift. Their response? Well, here's an example without any drift. We wouldn't expect to see it.
Right, and them,
Well, I
them
remember-
claiming that them
Go on, John.
claiming you don't understand is actually them not knowing themselves. They just believe it.
Well, that was what I was going to go on to. I just wanted you to lead me. Exactly. Response number 2. You don't understand my tweet. With a picture of a man not drifting and a claim that reference frames have been ruined. You don't understand. And as we've already detailed, no, that's projection. I think Arwin's got it the most right. It's, I don't understand what to do. So I'll tell my opponent he doesn't understand my claim. Well, okay, if you're more than willing to detail number of subscribers and years in this field, why wouldn't you detail your claim, given that there's been enough opportunity for you to explain it? Well, you can't explain it. You don't have an explanation. The only thing you're debunking is your own claim. So you don't understand is, I don't know what to do.
I remember on this subject when I was in school, and I didn't understand what the teacher was teaching. I would go to the teacher after class and say, I really had trouble following what you were teaching. Can I make an appointment after school to sit with you so you could tutor me? And that's what I did when I didn't understand. I would want to understand. These ballers react in a whole different way.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't understand the water bucket spinning over the head because the water was in the bucket and not on the outside of a ball. I really did not understand that.
I don't ever remember getting that example as some supposed proof of gravity when I was a kid. I
You
didn't
never got
start
that?
hearing that. Not that I remember. I have a pretty good memory. I don't remember that. Like, I don't remember hearing that until I got into this argument. People started talking about swinging buckets of water. I was like, what the fuck is that about? What does that mean?
That's
Bucket live show.
What?
That's swearing.
That's because, hang
Hold
on,
on,
that's
hold on,
because
Clint.
the bucket example is pale to the new ones.
Nice pun. A bit less swearing, though. It's still live. Still live. I know we're all comfortable.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought he said bucket.
That's what I thought I said.
Yeah, he said bucket, and I made a pun out of it.
Stop crying out loud.
Okay, I will.
Oh, Nathan thought you said F it. I got it.
Anyway, I don't think we've reached our limit yet, and it's well past the intro, so we'll be good. We'll be okay.
Well, that
Yes.
slowed everything down.
It started with me
Well, no,
plugging you, so don't blame that.
My
plug-
pun about the pail was good. Now, come on.
Clearly, my plug paled by comparison.
Thank you. Nah, you got a handle on it.
Oh,
Okay, I'll put a lid on it. I won't say anymore.
you and your buckets are ruined.
Thank you, Neil.
Not get too deep.
There we go.
Don't get me started.
Okay. Right, guys in Discord. We've done with housekeeping. We're just chit-chatting. Anything you want to throw in before I round out the live show and ask people to stay tuned if they're watching on a Premiering stream?
We haven't heard from
Anybody
Ed in a while, huh?
Anybody in Discord got reference frames?
Ruined.
Anyone in Discord at
Ruined
all?
ones, good ones. I mean, anyone at all?
Yeah, can't come by them. It's
Reference
like
frames,
geometric horizons.
All right, I got a plug. Can I plug?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We're starting to do like Bible studies in Discord. So if anybody's interested in that, you guys are all welcome.
Cool. What's the name of the room?
And what's that?
What's the name of the room? Because the link will be in the info box. So
It's just as a Bible text chat or Bible conversation for VC. So it's right below. Like, I don't know, these channels over here.
When?
I want to say the Discord server, the name of it, shit like that.
What
It's
time and
just-
when?
It's the Discord server.
Right, I'll do
The
a
one
proper plug
Nathan's
if you
using
like.
right now.
Okay, so
The link is below in the description of Nathan's videos.
just in case you're watching this on an MP3 or a download, or you're not watching with an info box. So the Discord server is called Flat Earth Science versus Pseudoscience. And the discussion chat room, once you've clicked the link, if you have got an info box that you could have joined this live show to discuss the nature of Earth, you could also click that link if you're watching under a live show to join that discussion. So feel free to click that link and join the Bible discussion chat room. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!